Let's go! Now it's time for the Rob Johnson Sports Show, presented by the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
All right, we're going to try this again because I didn't go live last time. I got Larry Passon from the Game Time Sports Network. Again, tell the people where they can find you and what you do for Longwood. And this time, I promise, it's live.
Yeah, this is Larry
Jesus
Patterson,
Christ.
Game Time Sports Network. Check out my stuff at Game Time Sports Network on Facebook, YouTube, and Game Time 365 Sports on Instagram, and just see a little bit of what I do.
We talking about a little bit you do. Man, all the stuff you do, what are you talking about, man? What the hell are you talking about? The little stuff you do. All the stuff you do, man, we on here tonight. I'm glistening. with the Afghan beard.
Hey man, you when you sent me the message earlier, I meant to tell you, man, that shit is lined up to the T. Hey, shout out to your barber.
Yo, yeah, that's right, Eugene the barber, man. That is the dude that makes sure I'm good. Beauty Braids by D. She's in Chesterfield. If you're ever in the Virginia area, I can tell you where to get your. Tell you to get. Yes, look at this shit. I can tell you get your hair done. I can tell you where to get your beard done. And I got that beard cream from CVS. It's like $7-8, but it is worth it. It makes your beard important. Anyway, Larry, let's get to these topics. We only have to about 10:30, 40 tonight. So let's get to it. First topic. Are the Patriots, or could the Patriots be one of the worst teams of all time? I look at this from a very interesting standpoint because of the fact that, last year they didn't win many games. Could they be one of the worst teams, or could a Jacoby Brissett come in and change their fortunes?
Well, it certainly looks like they're one of the worst teams right now, right?
On paper, yeah, but I hate to interrupt you. Mac Jones, 10 touchdowns, 12 picks. Zappy, 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's 16 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. I think Jacoby Brissett could do a little bit better than that, right?
He can. I feel like he can do a little bit better, and I think the offensive line is brewing over there. Not the best pass catchers over there.
No.
But what you do have is Ramondre Stevenson, who is a proven talent in this league. He can hit you with the run game, hit you with the pass game. You bring in Antonio Gibson over in free agency. I don't know how I feel about that, but Mr. Fumbles over there. But and you also bring in guys like Jermichael Hasty, who's a nice complimentary piece in the run game. So I think Jalen Polk, the rookie Jalen Polk, he's going to make a difference. He's going to be either your go-to guy or not. But I like some of the additions that they made. Demario Douglas, he did a great job last year considering what they were working with. You still have Juju over there. I think Javon Baker is going to be something special as well, the rookie out of Central Florida, right? So
we talked about him. He is going to be very good if you can get him to football. I said before, during the draft, he has Brandon Marshall potential.
Yeah. So a big target like him, and then with Jalen Polk, I think Jalen Polk can provide some stuff over there. Don't forget about Hunter Henry, and then you add Austin Hooper.
I forgot about Hunter Henry.
Yeah, and then you add Austin Hooper over there to your tight end room. So on paper it looks a little difficult for Patriot fans, but I mean it's something brewing for the future though.
Because Drake May, they're saying right now, doesn't look like he's even going to start. I mean, we have still a lot of time to see, so we'll see how that goes. I'll give you one guess. Could you name their leading receiver last year?
Demario Douglas, right?
Nope. Zeke Elliott had 51 catches. Douglas had 49 catches. So Zeke led them in catches and running and in carries and yards.
Wow, a lot of screens, right?
Exactly. It had to be something, right? But I mean, Zeke's gone now, so of course. Did
Douglas have more yards?
Douglas had more yards. Let me see. He better had. He had 561, and Elliott had 313. So yeah, it wasn't as catches he led them, but as far as the yards, Yeah.
Okay.
But when you look at the defense, you look at Bentley, who out of Purdue, I think this is his what? I think this is you think this is third, fourth year, I believe. He's 27, 28 years old. He had 114 combined tackles last year. Bentley had a good year tackle wise, 114 combined tackles. Tavia, he had what was it, 110 tackles combined. You had the rookie come out of Oregon State, who's a really good player. He got hurt, unfortunately. You still got Jabril Peppers back there, so this defense can still be good, Larry. I mean, there's still a decent defense, and if you look at their schedule last year, I'll go through it for the people just to let them know. They lost to the Eagles 25-20, Dolphins 24-17, Jets 15-10. Dallas destroyed them 30-3. Saints destroyed them 34-0. They lost to the Raiders 21-17. Bills 29-25. Dolphins 31-17. Lost to the Commanders 20-17. The Colts 10-16. Giants 10-6. Chargers 6-0. Pittsburgh 21-18. The Chiefs 27-17. The Broncos 26-23. They lost. They won that game. They lost to the Bills 27-21, and they lost to the Jets 17-3. So this is all I'm saying. And because people have asked me this question, that's why I brought this question up. If they can get comparable quarterback play along with that rookie out of UCF, who I've talked about, I think, and if they don't treat Gerard Mayo like a lame duck coach, this could be a more interesting Patriots team that people are giving it credit for. And, I even did some more research looking at some of the worst teams in the history of the NFL. Like you look at the Bucs in 76, who were 0-14. The 1990 Patriots, who were 1-15. Remember, that's 4 or 5 years after they were in the Super Bowl, after the Bears absolutely destroyed them. The 73 Oilers, 1-13. The 71 Bills, who were 1-13. The 81 Colts, who were 2-14. The Colts in 91, who were 1-15. I don't think they will get in the 1980 Saints, who were absolutely god-awful. The 1980 Saints were god-awful, 1-15. And the 2001 Carolina Panthers, if you remember that Panthers team, they stunk really bad. So I don't think the Patriots are going to be that bad. And here's the thing about the AFC West that a lot of people aren't talking about. If Tua can't stay healthy, we don't know what the health of Aaron Rodgers is going to be, right? And we don't know what their quarterback's backup situation is. We don't know what the Buffalo Bills are going to look like. The Patriots, if they can just get some quality quarterback play, and we saw what Jacoby Brissett did when the Washington Commanders actually allowed him to play football last year. Wasn't it amazing what happened when Jacoby Brissett actually was allowed to play football and they didn't take the ball out of his hands, what he did last year in Washington? So I think they got potential to be better than people think.
And I also
as
want
long
to
as
touch on
Drake May doesn't play, because I don't believe in Drake May.
But he gonna have to get on there sometime though.
Okay.
But
the tank. The only reason they would start Drake May week 1 is if they were tanking. Now if Drake May comes out and he's a revelation and he's a surprise, God bless him at that point. I just don't see it. But if it happens, hey, all the power to him.
To piggyback off you on the defensive side of the ball, shout out to Christian Barrymore for getting that bag this offseason. Another one of those defensive tackles. They got the big bag.
Yeah.
The edge rusher, Keon White, I feel like going into his second year, he could be a thing. You working with Gerard Mayo, who is a New England legend up there. He's won championships. So it's not like you working with some new guy who's just coming into the system. Like he's been there. He knows the culture.
He's been there, yep.
So you also got guys like Matthew Judon, who had a little bit of a down year last year, but
he was hurt too. He was hurt. So
he was hurt too.
He got hurt in the Cowboys game, which by then he had no business being in the game. They were down big anyway. So
and then Christian Gonzalez, who was on his way to a phenomenal year before.
That's what I was going to say. Christian Gonzalez, he had an excellent season. He got hurt, I believe, in the Cowboys game as well. But he was having a really good season, man. Like the Patriots have something. I think they could be one of those surprises. Like we talked about Arizona before. It could be some of those teams, man, that you don't want to play, especially again if they could get comparable quarterback play.
No doubt.
So, no doubt. So let's get to our next topic here. And as we do that, this graphic was by our guy here, Larry Patterson. If you see here, Boston Celtics playing against the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. If you look up here, right there, This is historic because if you look at these two teams, I believe this is the first time that they will ever face each other in the NBA Finals. Plus, you look at the Mavericks and you look at how they were. I was doing some research today looking at the Mavericks, looking at how good they were in the 80s, how they were close to getting to the finals. You get to the finals in 06, you get to the finals in 11. This team, when they're good, is better for basketball. It's a big brand. It's a big brand in Boston. I also think, Larry, that I've been looking at Jaylen Brown a little more as well with his intellect and everything that the controversy about him not being quote unquote marketable. And then you got Kyrie Irving. You have two high level brothers who are very intelligent, who are trying to bring more positivity. Talk about this series. I think this series is bigger than basketball. I think these two guys could bring so much greatness, and this could really cement Kyrie Irving and, these guys from Boston, Tatum and Brown. So I'm excited about the series. Some people call it boring. I don't think it's boring at all. I think it has potential to be a great series, exceptional series.
I don't think it's boring at all. I think
Hell no.
when you add like little things like Kyrie Irving, now he's going back to Boston now. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, it's gonna be
The,
exciting.
the sage is going to be burning in their game 1, game 2, game 5, game 7. So that's something to look toward to. Kristaps, him going back to Dallas, that's another story. I think he's going to be playing in this series. So,
He
but
should
I
be.
feel like with him, he's going to be somewhat on some kind of minutes restriction. You imagine. So he's going to have to make the most of his opportunities while he's out there. But this series, I feel like is more about those role players because role players do what they
The
play
X
well
factor.
at.
Yep.
Yeah, they X factors and they play well at home. So when you're looking at Boston, you're looking at guys like Drew Holiday, who's great on the defensive end and who can also give you some points. Derek White, who's been playing pretty efficient
He's been playing really good
in this
basketball.
postseason. Yes, he has. Even to the guys like that can come out of nowhere, like Sam Hauser, um, who could pop a three, and then you got guys on Dallas. Tim Hardaway Jr. Remember, he can give you something as far as D&3. He can give you points too as well. So this is one series where you could probably see him go for 21 or 24. He could get really hot. Guys like Derrick Jones Jr. Are becoming becoming, I wouldn't say household names, but they're open to the public now because this is a nationally televised game. Everybody's watching this. So guys like
Even look at a guy like Xavier Tillman, who in Memphis for so long had such a huge impact. Now he's just on the bench in Memphis. I'm sorry, he's on the bench in Boston, just like, yo, this is Xavier Tillman. Like, this dude can play basketball. So that's what I'm saying. Look at the things that he could possibly do. You have like I said, you have a whole bunch of guys on Boston who can just do a whole bunch of things. O'Shea Brissett, he's a 25-year-old guy. He's out of Syracuse. He's young. He can come off and do some good things. Cornette. A lot of people don't even know who Cornette is, but he's from out of Vanderbilt. He can come in and pop the three on you. There's so many things that Boston can do that it's hard to pick against them. However, let me say this. Dallas is scary, man. With Kyrie Irving, and what Luka Doncic did in that game was game 5 in Minnesota. That's scary, man. And you got to deal with that. And you're looking at a team who is really good. And here's the thing. Tim Hardaway hadn't even gone off yet. Tim Hardaway hasn't even gone off yet. And then you got guys like Lively who came in with do you know he's 7'1" out of Duke. He's 20 years old. Do you know how hard it is to come in the game with a sprained neck? He is going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem for a long time. I remember even this. They got 28-year-old Dante Exum, who was a former first-round pick. Imagine if he finds his form. Brother, these are two teams who are so deep. This is going to be a throwback NBA series. If you don't think that this is going to be a good NBA series, then I kind of have to question, do you know the game of basketball?
And then you're looking at guys like Jaden Hardy's, the Josh Greens, like you mentioned, the
PJ
Derek
Washington.
Lives, PJ Washington. That
25 years old.
trade is looking the trade is looking a little golden here after that, huh? mid-season
Yeah,
trade coming over
yeah.
from Charlotte. Guys like so back to what I was saying, guys like Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, and Derek Lively. I mean, you're playing this kind of ball early in your career. I
And
mean,
don't
man,
and don't forget about 25-year-old Daniel Gafford. Gafford. I mean,
Daniel Gafford, who's been everywhere all over the league so far, but
exactly. That's what I'm
as far as
saying,
crashing
man.
those
That's what I'm
boards and getting those
saying.
rebounds,
Exactly, man. Exactly. The Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks both have youth on their side. They have guys that can play ball. The problem with Boston is this is how I look at Boston, right? Indiana should have won 3 games in that series. That series should have been longer, but Indiana just didn't know how to finish. You mess around with Dallas. You mess around with Dallas if you want to and lose a game in Boston. You might come back home down 3-1. They cannot play around with this Dallas Mavericks team. They're dangerous, man. And Luka is not soft. Luka
Luka's on a
has that.
whole nother level right
Yeah,
now.
and it has nothing to do with them both having the same skin color. Luka has that Larry Bird killer instinct in him. Yes, he whines and cries, but you see how he's been getting crazy lately. You see how he's been getting
Man,
in dudes' faces. You see it. You
man,
know, if certain people, if certain other people would get that tough, we wouldn't be having other discussions. Okay, you know what I'm
man.
saying?
Isn't it
So
a
yeah,
joy to see?
yeah, yeah. He's losing his
Just
mind. He wants to
yes,
win. But here's the biggest thing that I think that nobody's talking about, right? All right, so Kyrie Irving, who was his coach in Brooklyn? Steve Nash.
Steve Nash.
Who has the media tried to tell us for so many years? Oh, he's so great, he's so good. And I've been saying, yes, Steve Nash is a very good player, but he wasn't Jay Kidd. People underestimated what it was going to be like to have Jason Kidd having Kyrie Irving under his wing and showing him as one of the better point guards we've ever seen how to play point guard. This is a match made in heaven. Jason Kidd should have been the coach of the Lakers years ago, but there were concerns. He should have been a coach for some other teams, but there were concerns. Now look at it. Jason Kidd, one of the all-time greats who helped accomplish one of the quote-unquote biggest upsets, which it really wasn't a big upset because if you think about it, Dallas not only, God rest Kobe Bryant's soul, was never, I'm just keeping real, was never a big fan of his. But before that Mavericks team, who was so-called underdogs, they beat Oklahoma City, they beat them good, and they swept the Lakers. I just want to point that out. That Jason Kidd has a history of, showing people that, hey, my team is better than you guys think they are. That 2011 Mavericks team was a lot better than people thought they were, and this team was as well. They beat the Clippers, even though Kawhi was hurt. That doesn't matter. I think they would have beat them with Kawhi. Then they go on to the second round. I don't think people really understand, Larry, they beat a really good Oklahoma City team. The Oklahoma City team was ready to go, all right? And then they go and they beat Minnesota. They don't just beat them, they dominate them. So I got Dallas, man. I got Dallas. I'm picking Dallas. I think the Celtics are really good, but something just tells me that Dallas is going to take this series, man.
I think either way it goes, it's going to go 7 games. I'm
Do you think
gonna
it's going
take
to go 7?
Boston. I'm gonna take Boston.
Mm-hmm. I could see it going 6. I could see Dallas winning because it's really hard for me to see them winning on Boston's home floor. It's really hard for me to see them win on Boston's home floor in a game 7, but I could see them winning in 6 games.
One player I know your boy Stephen A. Smith is gonna be watching, and that's Jason Tatum. Because man, you gotta deliver. You done been here before. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, but
Now,
look, I get it, but it's a team game, and to me, the best player
yeah,
on Boston is Jaylen Brown. You could still pay Jason Tatum, or he could walk, but this to me, I feel like Jaylen Brown is becoming his own, coming to his own. I think, and I remember I said this last year that, and the biggest thing that's saving Boston right now, they don't have Marcus Smart jacking on those stupid threes.
yeah,
And I said this last year, Marcus Smart, yes, he was a heart and soul, blah, 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 blah. But he was jacking up so many threes and missing so many gimmies that it was hurting the team. This Boston team as constituted is better than they've been in years. And, I feel like that even though they're in this position, Dallas is going to win the series. I just feel like Dallas is going to win this series. No matter how good Boston plays, no matter what they try to bring at it, I still have concerns from what I saw against Indiana, because Indiana was up big. You know, you look back at the second round, Cleveland, if Donovan Mitchell plays in this series, where does that series really go? But Dallas, we really have had if you look at Dallas, we really have had no doubts. Dallas has made statements. The Celtics have kind of gave us question marks, but the Mavericks have made statements. So
you're absolutely right.
That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at a team that's making statements compared to a team that's been like, we're just getting by.
Yeah.
We're just doing whatever.
Yeah.
And it still bothers me that they lost that game to the Miami Heat. That still bothers me because if you give those shots to Dallas, you're not winning the series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying on that one. So, but now let's go to our next topic, which will be MLB. Let's go to the standings. Let's talk about some games. We'll talk about the winners today and who's still playing. Right now, Larry, the Atlanta Braves won their game 3-1 against the Athletics. We're tied 4-4 in the ninth. That's actually on ESPN right now, Sunday Night Baseball. Phillies and Cardinals are tied at 4. The Twins beat the Astros 4-3. The Rays beat the Orioles 4-3. You had the Blue Jays beat the Pirates 5-4. The Rangers beat the Marlins 6-0. The Washington Nationals get a huge, and I mean absolutely huge victory in Cleveland 5-2. The Mets lose the Diamondbacks 5-4. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the White Sox 6-3. The Royals beat the Padres 4-3. The Reds beat the Chicago Cubs 5-2. Yankees come back and beat the Giants in a huge win in San Francisco 7-5. The Mariners continue to lead the AL West. They beat the Angels 5-1, and the Dodgers beat the Colorado Rockies. Give your thoughts, sir, on MLB and what you're seeing right now.
Well, what about those Yankees, man? I swear
they're up. Yeah. And Juan Soto should get a $500 million. This is my opinion. Juan Soto, and you know something? Aaron Judge, I said that he shouldn't have got that big contract, and I still don't think he should have. But he's producing. He's producing. So the bottom line is right now he's shutting me up. He's producing. The team is producing. They're pitching better. You go to San Francisco, who you and I both know are a possible contender to get to the NL championship game because that's how dangerous that a lot of those teams are in the NL West. But to go to San Francisco and win that game today, that's huge. The Yankees play great baseball. Now they got a series coming up with the Twins, and of course, they got the games against the Dodgers. Well, next week when we're talking baseball, we'll have the game on and we'll be talking about it as it's going on.
And to go into San Francisco and sweep them.
Exactly. They won 7-5 today. They won 7-3 on Saturday, and on Friday they won 6-2. And they won 2 out of 3 against the Angels. Absolutely dominated them last 2 games. The total combined was 10-4. Last 2 games against the Angels. Absolutely dominated them. Yep.
Yes. So Juan Soto playing excellent ball.
Great baseball.
Giancarlo Stanton. Great baseball. Giancarlo Stanton. I sent you a graphic early in the week. It had Soto. It had Judge. I believe it had Volt and Stanton. And the MLB's best hitting team.
Yeah.
Best batting average. So and you still haven't got the Cy Young winner back yet.
Exactly.
He's going in the AAA pretty soon. So
exactly. If you could look at a disappointing team right now, for me, Larry, I would probably say the Reds because man, having De La Cruz, and I was hoping that team, how they came on late, they came on during the summer last year, and they were supposed to make the playoffs, and you had that young player who was so good, and he's still going to be good for a long time, but I think the Reds are very disappointing right now because they're 26-33. They're 10 games out of the lead in the NL Central. They're only 2.5 back when it comes to the wild card. So playing the Cubs and playing those teams in their division is going to be very critical. But I'm disappointed in the Reds because I think that they're good for baseball, and I think their talent, could be their offensive explosions could be good for TV in the summertime going into the fall.
I'm disappointed in the Reds, and I'm also actually disappointed in the Cubs. The Cubs looked like early in the season like one of those
Well,
teams
well,
that, hey,
well, right
you gotta
now they
watch
they
out.
are in the top three for the wild card. So I mean, it's not horrible.
Yeah, true. But as far as that panel, another team, Texas, is Texas in the wild card? I think Texas might be in the wild card though. Let me
Texas should. Let me see. No,
see.
Texas. Actually,
No,
Texas is
they're 4 back.
no. Texas is 4 games out. And the
Yeah, 4
crazy
games
thing
out.
is that
So
the crazy thing is the Cardinals are actually tied for the NL wild card lead. And the Cardinals have been horrible all year, but they're starting to come on. But yeah, the Rangers. I keep calling them the Texans, but the Rangers are actually tied with the Detroit. They're 4 games back. The Red Sox are 3.5 back. Your leaders right now in the wild card go as follows: the Orioles, who are 5 games up. The Royals, who are 2 games up, and the Twins, who are tied. They have basically a same record as the next team up, so they don't have much of a lead. So those are your 3 teams: Orioles, Royals, and Twins. And in the NL, your 3 teams are the Braves, who are up 5.5, Padres up 2.5, and the Cubs. The Braves have been sticking in it despite the injury from Acuna Jr. But a team that I'm continuously looking at is the Nationals. The Nationals keep playing good baseball, man. Like I told people before, they're going to be really good in the next couple of years. So they could be one of those teams that could get in, could scare somebody in the opening, round or round of the playoffs or whatnot. So I'm looking at the Nationals. As I told you before, I'm definitely keeping my eye on the Giants because they're one of those teams that can be very scary once they get into the playoffs. If they get into the playoffs, because of course, the Dodgers are going to win the NL West unless it's absolute collapse. So
in that wild card, I'm looking at it on ESPN. The Braves, the Padres, and the Giants. But then it's like it's got the Giants tied with the Cubs and the
mm-hmm,
Cardinals, who's been hot, and then you got the Nationals a game out,
mm-hmm.
Diamondbacks and the Pirates a game and a half, and the Reds 2.5, and the Mets with 4.5. But we know about the Mets, but 4.5 isn't 9.5. Like you can get to 4.5 within a week. So
Let me stop you there too, Larry. This is going to be critical for the Nationals starting tomorrow. Let's see, June 3rd through the 9th. They have at home. They're going to be at home from June the 2nd to June the 9th. They got 3 against the Mets, 4 against the Braves. We are going to learn a lot about the Nationals. Now, here's the thing. After that, they got the Tigers for 3 games at Detroit, and then they got the Marlins for 3 games. Then they got home games against the Diamondbacks, and then they go to Colorado before they go in June 24th through 26th against the Padres. This is the time where the Nationals have to make their move. You make your move now before you go out to the Padres. You know that the Rays are going to get hot sooner or later. You go into July going against the Mets and Cardinals. Against the Mets again. I'm telling you, man, the Nationals' schedule is very favorable. They've got to take advantage of this if they really want to make a push for that wild card spot.
especially, didn't they beat the Braves 2-1 already this year?
Yeah. And they were dominant against the Braves. Yeah, they were very dominant against the Braves.
So
Definitely.
I know it's a lot more matchups left with them to come. I think 13 total games. So
Yeah.
was it 10 more games left? But by
Yeah.
you already having a 2-1 lead over the Braves, it gives you some kind of positivity and
Yeah.
momentum going into
But
that
we've
series.
already talked about the Braves June. The June Braves played very well in June, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's going to be a very exciting time. I'm hoping that the MLB All Star Game is lit up this year, man, because that's how it needs to be. Because it's been a very good season. Let's go. We're now 10:08 p.m. Eastern here on the East Coast. Let's go to our top 5 college football teams. Larry, give the people your top 5. In fact, before we do that, before we do that, we're gonna skip the topic. Let's go to our top 2 Heisman candidates. Give me your top 2 Heisman candidates, and then we'll go into that topic. Non-quarterbacks. So, who are your top 2 non-quarterback Heisman candidates?
My top 2 Heisman non-quarterback candidates.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's gonna be pretty obvious. So Travis Hunter is one.
Okay.
You know what he can do on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
That's
I think we
one.
got the same. We both got him definitely.
We don't even need to go any further. My second one, Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State. He
Mm-hmm.
missed 3 games last year, but he still managed to get like 1,700 yards in like 13 games, no, 14 games, something
He's
like
the
that.
running back who's really good, right? He's
Yes, I
really
think
good.
he had like 20. He had 21 touchdowns,
Wow.
averaging 6.1 yards a pop. So that's
Wow.
somebody I'm looking at as well. Doesn't look all that fast once he breaks out into the open field, but he definitely has a speed to him and in a make you miss type of form. And man, I'm excited to see what he does this year as well.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, mine, of course, Travis Hunter. 57, and he was injured last year, so this is still impressive, man. 57 catches, 300. I'm sorry, 57 catches for 721 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 30 tackles, 3 interceptions. It's very impressive when you look at what Travis Hunter could do. Now, this young man could be a breakout, and we haven't really seen a guy out of this school since Jeremy Maclin. But Luther Burton III, wide receiver out of Missouri, 86 catches,
Oh,
86 catches, 1,212 yards, 9 touchdowns. Missouri is going to be very freaking sneaky, man. Missouri is going to be very freaking sneaky, and I'm telling you, people need to watch out for this team. This team is going to this team might cause some havoc for some folks, man. So I definitely think that people need to watch out for that team. So
yeah.
going to transitioning, give me your top five through one, your college preseason teams that you're looking at.
All right, I'm gonna go number 5. I'm gonna go Ole Miss.
You trust
Got
Lane
Jackson.
Kiffin? You trust Lane Kiffin?
You know what?
I know it's hard, man.
It's hard, but you know it's hard. But Jackson Dart's coming back for another year. You
Mm-hmm.
bring in a former 1,000-yard receiver in Antoine Wells from South Carolina, who
Mm-hmm.
also had 900 yards in 2022. He got injured last year, so we'll see what they can bring to the table. And number 4, I'm gonna go Oregon. Dylan Gabriel. Got you a brand
Okay,
new
from
quarterback in
former
there.
quarterback, I got you. I got you.
Yeah. Former UCF quarterback as well. Tez Johnson, he's back, and then you got a Jordan James returning, almost ran for 800 yards and 11 touchdowns last year,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then you bringing in guys like Kobe Savage and Jabbar Muhammad on the back end. So I like what they did there. I'm gonna go Texas at number 3. Quinn
Okay,
Ewers. Quinn Ewers. Let's see what he can do this year.
I think he's gonna
And
be good. And you know I'm a fan of his, big time.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see what he can do and see if Arch Manning will get any snaps this year. Will
No,
he get
he's
snaps this year?
Archman needs to wait till next year, and then that's when I feel like he'll take off. But I think you're 2-1 a little obvious, right? Or they can
Two,
flip flop. They can flip flop. So
at 2, I got Ohio State.
okay, so we already know who number 1 is. We can
And number 1 is Georgia.
number
So
1 is Georgia. Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, mine is gonna kind of take you off a little bit. Now, I would have put Texas higher if they were still in the Big 12. They're in the SEC now. So at Texas, Quinn Ewers, how they recover from that loss against Washington. I really want to see that. Is there going to be extra pressure on Quinn Ewers because you have that young player behind him? Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell departed for the NFL. You have Ryan Wingo who comes in, Trent, you have Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, Silas Bolden. So we'll see. We'll see when it comes to Texas, number 5. Number 4, a lot of people may not like this, the Utah Utes. And I say this reason why Utah. Cam Rising is back. And if Cam Rising can stay healthy, this team, and I was so close to putting Missouri there, but if Cam Rising can stay healthy, that Utah Utes team, man, with that defense and their tenacity and what they can do on offense, ball control, football, I really like Utah. Love Utah. Number 3, as a long-time Miami Hurricane fan, people may not like me saying this, but I don't really care because I have to be fair and balanced. Notre Dame might be a problem this year. Notre Dame might finally be a problem, and this is the reason why. They are getting transferred from Duke, Riley Leonard.
Riley
Leonard is the real fucking deal. Riley Leonard, again, is the real effing deal. And you put that guy in that system, oh boy, Notre Dame could be a serious problem. Number 2, Ohio State. The reason I say Ohio State, not number 1, is because I need to see what they're going to do at quarterback. They got Henderson, who out of local from Hopewell. Great running back. They gotta replace Marvin Harrison Jr., which, as we've seen the last couple of years, this Ohio State team is becoming wide receiver U. And at number 1, we have to put Georgia. Georgia has a tough schedule. Carson Beck is, again, they say he's primed for a big season. We know this. We have to see, can Georgia navigate through that tough schedule? So, Larry, give me a wild. I know this is a little bit of a left field question. Give me a wild card team that could shock people, because I think my answer is going to not shock people too much, but it may shock some people. I think if you had a shock team, I think I know what your answer would be.
If I had a shock team,
yeah, that put it like this: it wouldn't shock you if, let's say, around October, early part of November, they were undefeated and nobody really saw it coming.
Probably Missouri.
And you say Missouri? Okay, all right. Tell me a little more about Missouri in your opinion. Just with what they got going on a receiver and what they're bringing back, because I thought they could have been better last year, but they ran into a little bit of a wall.
Yeah, I think with their receiver with Burden.
Yeah,
and I'm blanking on the quarterback's name right now, but I just think with them,
yeah,
as well as a couple other teams too, like a Ole Miss. I've been talking about Kansas for a minute, but I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people.
I knew you were getting ready to say that, and that's why. I brought that up. That's why I brought.
I know.
See, I was trying to give you the hint to segue, but before you go any further, this is Missouri's schedule: Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, Vanderbilt, at A&M, at UMass versus Auburn. The big game, October 26th at Bama. October 26th at Bama. November the 9th against Oklahoma at home, at South Carolina, at Mississippi State versus Arkansas. My friend, that is not a daunting task. Besides the Bama game and possibly Oklahoma, but we don't know what Oklahoma is going to look like. That is not a daunting task.
Nah, but when we talking about with Kansas, you got those cornerbacks that I love so much, and Melo Dotson and Kobe Bryant, two of the top corners in this nation, in the country. So, and also you bring Devin Neal back, who will rush for 1,200 yards.
I'm gonna give you a schedule right now, and I'm not one of those type of people where I'm gonna choose my team, because that's not what I do. I'm not a homer. I keep it fair. So I'm not gonna talk about Miami's schedule, even though I think it's very favorable. I'm gonna read you a schedule right now, and this is a team, man, that I don't think a lot of people are talking about, but they could be in the college football playoff. I'm gonna read the schedule. At Vanderbilt versus Marshall, at ODU versus Rutgers, at Miami, at Stanford versus Boston College, versus Georgia Tech, at Syracuse. The key game Saturday, November the 9th, versus Clemson, at Duke versus Virginia. I'm talking about Virginia Tech. Let me tell you something, folks. Y'all may think it's a joke, but don't be shocked. In November, Virginia Tech sitting undefeated. Because, and they're my possible shock team. They're my possible. Kyron Drones is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 818 yards with 5 scores. Man, they got transfers from Duke, Oklahoma, Alabama's Perry's coming over, Western Community College, Kamari Copeland. This is a dangerous Virginia Tech team, and this is the most dynamic quarterback they've had since the early days of Michael Vick and Brian Randall. I'm telling you right now, with that schedule, come November the 9th, Clemson could be walking to a buzzsaw.
I have to be at Lane Stadium. I guess it's Lane Stadium. Is it playing stadium? It's
Yeah,
some
Wayne
whatever
Stadium. Yep.
stadium. I have to get up there sometime this year. I gotta feel that electricity that crowd brings, man.
Yeah, and like I said, that Miami game they have, that game could determine a lot because both teams possibly could be undefeated. I doubt if Miami's undefeated because they got Florida State, but Virginia Tech, man, could be a really serious problem. So we'll talk more college football come July and August and things like that. Now let's go to the AFC and NFC North. As I brought the graphic back like I did last week. I hope everybody likes the little graphic I got there. To me, Larry, when it comes to these two divisions, it's not really that much to talk about in a sense because let's look at the AFC North first, right? You look at the Bengals. It's very simple with the Bengals. Either Joe Burrow is going to stay healthy or he's not.
Yep.
When you talk about Pittsburgh, I think it's ludicrous that we keep talking about Justin Fields. What has he done career-wise compared to Russell Wilson? What has he done? Like I get it. Justin Fields could have a great future. But right now, Russell Wilson is the guy. He's the Super Bowl champion. He's been there twice. It's his job until he completely screws it up, which I don't think he will. They got a great defense in Pittsburgh. They got decent weapons. I think Pittsburgh will be a good team, right? You got the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, before he gets hurt last year, he goes 14-14 in the fourth quarter against the Ravens. That defense is excellent. They have offensive weapons. Everybody's trying to hype up this game against the Cowboys week 1. I don't think it'll be close. I think the Browns should win this game by at least 20 points. I think the Browns are that much better than the Dallas Cowboys right now. The Cowboys are in turmoil. Now, will the Cowboys turn things around? Possibly. But I think the Browns are a 10 to 15 point better team right now than Dallas until Dallas can prove to me otherwise. And then you have the last team in that division, the Baltimore Ravens. And Larry, it comes down to this. Can Baltimore run the football? Can Baltimore get back to their identity, not trying to pass the football all around the football field? And can Zay Flowers make better plays in his second year? If you ask me right now, I think that this division could easily get their Super Bowl winner out of it if everybody's healthy in all spots. If I had to pick a division winner today, again, there's a lot of turmoil in Cincinnati, right? And Joe Burrow, I don't know if he's going to stay healthy. I don't know if his weapons are going to be there. You're losing Joe Mixon. And I think Joe Mixon leaving that locker room is bigger than what people are saying. He was a locker room leader. He's been there with Joe Burrow day one. You could possibly still get T. Higgins traded, So right now, if you're asking me, it has to be the Ravens, but I'm not counting out Pittsburgh or Cleveland.
No, absolutely not. And when you look at the preseason, going into preseason, you looking at this division. I'm looking at it as maybe like you can't look at a clear cut team and be like, man, that's gonna be the winner. Like you looking at it like who's gonna be the winner here? Because all those teams are tough. The defensive side of the ball, whenever they play each other, it's gonna be headaches after the game. So I like what Baltimore done. I like what all of them did as far as the offseason. But if I'm looking at Pittsburgh, you know how I feel about Russ. I'm not against Russ.
Do you think Russ can lead the Pittsburgh Steelers to a Super Bowl?
I feel like he can because they've been doing things as far as like revamping the offensive line. So
do you think Justin Fields can lead them to a Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Or do you feel like this?
Man, you ain't got no chance in hell.
That's when you ask me for both quarterbacks. I don't know, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Can Joe Burrow stay healthy though? Can Joe Burrow stay healthy? Because I don't know, man. It's like I feel like I'm not saying we're giving him a pass because I like Joe Burrow. Not trying to say anything against him, but man, he started out really rough last year, brother. I mean, yeah, he came out in that San Francisco game and balled out, but he started out really rough last year. Yeah, he had some injuries, but so did Deshaun Watson. But at least when Watson ended his season, he was 14-14 in the fourth quarter against Baltimore. He went into Baltimore, played hurt. You know, and you know his touchdown to interception ratio is still all time great. You know, it's still you know. So.
I think the thing that makes him look good in that situation is because it was against Baltimore, and then
Oh,
they
most
were
definitely.
down. They were down, and then he came back in that game. But it's like the games before that, it was like, man, this dude is he just where is he at? Where's this old Deshaun Watson at? So,
I
and
mean,
then
yeah. I think he can get back to form. You know, the problem is that you know something I thought about, Larry, and I wanted to bring this up to you tonight. There's a potential we could have 4 new coaches in that division if things go bad. Zach Taylor. I mean, nobody's sitting here saying that Zach Taylor is like irreplaceable. He's not. You know, if the Steelers have a bomb of a season, Tomlin could be gone. You look at Harbaugh. You know, there have been rumors for years that they might want him out of there if they ever have a bomb season. You know, then you look at what was it, Cleveland, Baltimore. I already mentioned Pittsburgh. Who was the last team I didn't mention? Did I mention? I mentioned Cincinnati. Oh, Kevin Stefanski. As much money as they put into Sean Watson, if they can't have, because the last time we saw Cleveland, they were getting blown out in Houston, right? So it's a possibility we could have a whole new group of coaches. It's a possibility. And then look at this: you got Bill Belichick and you got Mike Tomlin as free agents. It's a possibility, Larry. You never know. I'm just saying. I'm saying if it goes wrong, if things go wrong in that division, because these fans, these days when it comes to coaching, people are very impatient,
if things go wrong out of one
which
of
I
those
don't see.
teams,
But I'm just saying if.
I'm saying it's Mike Tomlin. If it's Mike Tomlin, I feel like he's on the hotter seat. And you talk about Kevin Stefanski. I mean, I think the Browns at least give him another year, just because. I mean, that's 2 playoff appearances.
But
Now I know this day and age, I know they don't mean
but
shit.
Larry, the
But
problem I see with Pittsburgh is, yeah, I mean, if they have a down season, I get it, and I know the fans want to change. But the fact that they won 19 games last year with that crop of trash, it's just.
yeah,
Think about this. Any other coach can any other coach have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? I'm sorry, I'm not gonna call him that anymore. Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, who wouldn't it be crazy? By the way, I know it's a little off topic. Would it be crazy if Kenny Pickett came in and took Jalen Hurts' job in Philadelphia?
yeah, man.
That would
Anything's
be
possible in the National Football League.
that would be wild, and then you know what that would do then? That would look even worse on Pittsburgh. But the possibility of Kenny Pickett taking somebody's job,
Man, you ain't got no chance in hell.
I'm just saying, man. Like if Kenny Pickett goes somewhere and does well, that's gonna really look bad on Pittsburgh. Because let's be honest, Pittsburgh develops wide receivers well. They ain't really done the best developing quarterbacks. I mean, Big Ben and who else? Since like what?
That's been about
Since
it.
when? I
That's
mean,
been
think
about
about
it.
it. Think about it. Think about it. Terry Bradshaw, Cordell Stewart, Neil O'Donnell, who supposedly threw the game against the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Go back and watch Super Bowl, by the way. That was an atrocity. With Neil
Who's the
O'Donnell getting
linebacker that they picked up? Was it Patrick Queen?
Patrick Queen. So that's what I'm saying. They're still going to have a really good defense, but that
Yeah.
offense has got to get going, man. Listen, they got the young man out of Penn State who he's already proclaiming, last year to this year he's the best corner in the league. I get it, but that offense is going to get going. But you can't tell me, and I think we gave the stats a few weeks ago, and it was horrible with the Pittsburgh quarterbacks what they combined for in touchdowns. You can't tell me with Russ coming in there they can't improve. If they can't improve on the Russ, then yes, Mike Tomlin will lose his job.
I'm gonna ask you one question.
Yes,
Back
sir.
to what you were talking about the Bengals. Now, them losing Joe Mixon.
Huge.
What do you
Huge.
think about Zach Moss? Now, he did have a positive year last year. Not saying
I
it's gonna be the
think
caliber of that, but
it's different systems. That's my only problem. It's different systems, and the Colts run such a sophisticated running game. I don't know if the Bengals run that same running game because, like, I know people say the Madden is just a Madden video game, but if you really honestly were to look at Madden playbooks from the '90s to now are so much more complicated. like when you look at Madden playbooks, like these are actual, sometimes not all the playbooks, but you look at some of the running schemes. Like you look at like Zach Moss in Baltimore would be an absolute menace to society. But I don't know what the Bengals running game tech what their schemes are. You know what kind of, because most of their stuff is pass. You know, most of their stuff is pass. It's not a lot of play action. It's not a lot of, you know, when you were in when he was in Indianapolis, you know, of course they did some more RPOs, things like that, blah blah blah. But you know, system matters. But if they can incorporate him into their system and he can get through those A and B gaps and he can get the right blocking, that's my problem. They don't probably have the best offensive lineman here in Cincinnati that they do in Indianapolis. So that's a concern. But if he can ball out and he can do some good things, I mean, that can be a really good pickup for the Cincinnati Bengals. But again, does he have the same leadership as Joe Mixon? Joe Mixon, you know, brought a toughness to that team. When they went to Buffalo and won that game in the playoffs, they had no business winning that game at all. No business.
And then on the receiving side of the ball, I know T. Higgins could be a trade possibility. So last year they drafted Charlie Jones out of Purdue and Andre, the guy out of Princeton. I'm not even going to disrespect his name right now. This year they draft Jermaine Burton out of Alabama.
I was about to say something about that, but go ahead.
And then you draft 2 tight ends, Eric All out of Iowa and Tanner McLaughlin out of Arizona. There is possibility that T. Higgins could be traded, especially if Jermaine Burton turns into something.
Where Jermaine Burton was drafted, it was a crime. If Jermaine Burton turns to the receiver, I know he'll be better than T. Higgins. Okay? He's fast. I feel like he's faster than T. Higgins. I think he's got better hands than T. Higgins. I think that Jermaine Burton could be one of the breakout guys, and that could not only hurt both guys' contracts, because you're talking about a lot of money. Like, if you're the Bengals, do you want to go through what the Dolphins are going through right now? They got to pay those receivers, because if Tua doesn't have those receivers, and I'm sorry, you know I'm a Tua guy, but if Tua doesn't have those receivers, man, he's not the same guy. And in Cincinnati, if we saw Joe Burrow before he got to LSU and he was with Ohio State, and we saw him at LSU before he had some of those big time guys. Who is he without Jamar Chase? Who is he without T. Higgins? Who is he? I mean, Joe Burrow, for as really good as he is, he's had weapons, man. It ain't like he ain't had no weapons. But his problem is being able to stay healthy. So it is what it is. Let's go real quick to the NFC North. Again, a very easy division to dictate, in my opinion. You look at the Bears, man. You look at the Bears. The Bears have weapons beyond weapons. Caleb Williams, I told you already, I think he's going to be a problem in this league. They have a very easy schedule coming out the gates. The Packers, you know how I feel about Jordan Love. I've been talking about him for years. You look at the Lions. The Lions are going to be really good. Jared Goff gets paid. Problem is, got paid in Los Angeles. Things kind of plateaued a little bit. What's going to happen here? Before the game against Dallas last year, he struggled a little bit, but he got it together at the end of the game, but struggled. San Francisco, he had a big lead. They couldn't finish the deal in the NFC Championship game. The only team I have questions about right now is Minnesota, because I'm going to say this, and I know Minnesota fans won't like me. I know people probably will think I'm crazy. Justin Jefferson is a stat stuffer. Justin, I've said this for years. Listen, man, I don't have a problem with them paying Justin Jefferson, right? I don't have a problem. But I think Addison is the better receiver. I think Jordan Addison is the better receiver, right? I don't agree with the draft pick. I don't agree with the draft pick now whatsoever out of Michigan. I don't agree with it. I've told you that. Justin Jefferson is a really good receiver. Is he Randy Moss? Man, you ain't got no chance in hell. No. He's a really good receiver. Really good. But I just, Larry, go back and look at the Giants playoff game, man. Honestly, go back and look at the Giants playoff game where Daniel Jones dominated your team. In the biggest moments, Justin Jefferson doesn't show up. Yes, he makes big catches during the regular season. He makes big catches. He did great against. Remember the classic against Buffalo a few years ago. Remember the classic against Buffalo? That was a classic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a classic, definitely. But just remember, the Vikings got lucky.
The comeback win. The comeback win against Indianapolis.
They got lucky in that game, though. They got really lucky because Josh Allen did some stupid stuff. You know, Josh Allen sometimes can lose his head a little bit. So all I'm saying, brother, is this. And then Justin Jefferson also has some injury concerns as well. If you ask me, if you're asking me, and I have the same concerns about CeeDee Lamb. In fact, me and my father had a conversation about this. My father doesn't think CeeDee Lamb is a number one receiver. And I'm thinking to myself, how is it? I mean, he caught like 100 and some balls last year, 120 some balls. Justin Jefferson catching all these balls out here, dominating. But when it comes to, do you fear Justin Jefferson? Honestly, if you're coming to a game, do you think that he'll be the guy that can snag in 13 balls for 200 yards? And does he put the same fear that Calvin Johnson puts in you? Honestly,
no,
he doesn't, and that's my point. He's a really good receiver. You know, he's
capable of it.
You know, he does this little thing he does, whatever the hell this is. He does this little thing, but he doesn't put fear in your heart. It's almost like Curtis Martin back in the day. It's like Curtis Martin came, did his job, went home. It's like, he's really good, but I don't really fear Curtis Martin. You don't really fear this guy. You don't really fear Justin Jefferson, you know, out there. Trying to think of a guy in the league right now who you would fear. You don't fear him. You just don't. I'm sorry. Like, you don't fear him.
Who's the best wide receiver in the NFC North right now?
Who's the best wide receiver? I would go St. Brown in Detroit. Honestly. No. Let me take that back. I would go St. Brown, but let me tell you this right now. When Christian in Green Bay, he's gonna be healthy. I'm telling you, listen, man. You can listen. I had this conversation with Darrell Owens. When Christian gets himself together and him and Jordan Love can finally make a connection this year, he could possibly be the best wide receiver in that division. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now.
I think Jordan Love is going to have an excellent year.
Oh, he's not going to have just an excellent year. He's going to have a great year. And it's going to be led by Christian Watson, who is going to have a Pro Bowl season. Christian Watson is poised to break out this year. I'm telling you, Christian Watson is poised to break out this year. Him along with Romeo Doubs, they are going to break out this year. Everybody can laugh now. People can laugh now. They're going to cry later. The Packers receivers, the Green Bay Packers, are going to be a problem. They're the best team in this division right now besides the Lions. The Bears could possibly get a wild card spot, but I do not believe in the Minnesota Vikings. I don't believe in their coach. I don't believe in their system. I just don't. The Vikings do not intrigue me. The Vikings have top 5 draft pick written all over them for probably the next 2 years.
I think with who's a Christian Watson, I'm giving him to week 2, and then in his hand he's probably going to be giving him some issues, and then he'll be out for about 5 weeks. With Minnesota, I agree with you. Nothing about them really gives me, like, nothing really says I'm scared of this team right here. It almost feels like they're in a rebuilding process. Aaron Jones can probably make a difference in the run game, but I mean,
but that's the problem. It's a different system. He's going from Green Bay to Minnesota. Is he going to be the same guy? Is he going to have the same motivation? Yeah. You know, is he? You know, it's different in Minnesota. You know, you're going to a rival. Are things really going to be the same?
And plus with his availability as well. So
exactly. And then again,
but when he's in though.
And then again, you look at the rookie quarterback, who I don't believe in. I don't believe in him.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. Ask Constitute today, do you believe and the quarterback out of Michigan. Do you believe in him?
Uh,
Do you believe in J.J. McCarthy? Because I feel that they reached for J.J. McCarthy, and I don't think that. Listen, man, let me put it to you like this: if you're J.J. McCarthy, right? If you got Jordan Addison, you got Hawkinson, and you got Jordan Addison out there with Justin Jefferson. If you can't make anything happen with that, exactly. I keep telling people, man, it doesn't matter. And this is a little bit of opposite because he didn't have the greatest stats in college because they ran the ball all the time because they didn't believe in him like that, So we'll see. Anyway,
so now it's a test for them,
most
see what he can do. I mean, because he's got his tools right there. It's like you going into a shop and it's like you got brand new tools. Like these are your tools. Do something with it.
I just, like I said, it's not casting anything on Justin Jefferson, but I still, and I'm gonna look this up real quick versus Giants in the play. I'm gonna look at this because it still kind of bothers me to this day because the same Giants that same Giants team the next week went into Philadelphia and got their asses kicked. Okay, so Kirk Cousins on the day was 21, 31, and 39, 273, 2 touchdowns. You know what they had the most catches that day? T.J. Hawkinson, 10 catches, 129 yards. If we look at Justin Jefferson's stats, right? I mean, come on, man. I mean, 7 catches for 47 yards. Are you kidding me? Like he doesn't he showed up in the LSU game, in the LSU National Championship game. Yes, he did. But if you look at his career, you look at certain times, he doesn't show up. Again, it's like CeeDee Lamb. I'll say it again. It's like sometimes CeeDee Lamb does not show up in some of the biggest moments, and you scratch your head. And you're like, damn, why isn't he showing up? The same thing with Justin Jefferson. So it's a lot of good receivers, man, in the league. But, for me, if those guys in Philadelphia, I'll take them. When healthy, if they can get the ball actually thrown to them, you got a lot of good receivers in the league, but you don't fear Justin Jefferson like you fear Randy Moss. When Randy Moss was in the league, when he was in Minnesota, first couple of years, they game planned towards him. They game planned towards him. Defensive coordinators were scared to go against him until what game? Until he didn't show up in the NFC Championship game. Didn't do anything. But hey, that right there, my friends, is a tradition of Minnesota Vikings wide receivers not showing up in the biggest games. I'm not trying to say anything about anybody. It's just the truth. You look at Minnesota over the years in big games. 41-0 to the Giants. They had Chris Carter and Randy Moss. Who showed up that day? Nobody. It's a tradition. It's a tradition in Minnesota. Am I right or am I wrong? It's a tradition in Minnesota for receivers who are big time. Chris Carter's of the world. What was it? Jake Reed. Yeah, people don't remember Jake Reed. Yeah, they don't show up in big games, buddy. It is what it is. So if you had to pick one winner today at the NFC North, who would you give? Who would you do? Who would you give it to?
I give it to the Lions.
Lions. Okay, I give it to the
Lions.
I think there's a 3-way tie. I think the Lions could win. I think the Packers could win.
Please don't tell me the Bears.
I think the Chicago Bears could shock the world. I think Chicago would shock the world. I'm telling you, man, listen to me. That running game is legit. That defense with Montez Sweat is legit. And they've never had a quarterback this good in Chicago. Never. Ever. Since what? Sig Luckman was back in the day, getting a legal probation wine. I don't even know what's that. I don't know that for real. I'm just talking. But no.
I'm pretty sure it's before we were born.
Oh, long time ago. I mean, we can't say Rex Grossman because Rex Grossman. He somehow huh?
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying he somehow got them to the Super Bowl, but that was because of Devin Hester and that defense. But
Yeah. But I mean, depending if Keenan Allen can stay healthy.
That's a big if. That's a big if. But
and he going into a contract year too.
But you are talking about the young receiver out of Washington, Odunze. He's really good. So we'll definitely see. We'll definitely see how that's going.
And not to mention, like, Chicago, their run defense was like the best in the league, closing the year out. So I mean, there's some things that you can tack on to go into the next season with. Um, I think they picked up an edge rusher in the draft too somewhere. So, but yeah, I mean, you're not saying it. I think it's a little too early for that to say that they can win the division. Now, if they do, I wouldn't be surprised. But
Well, listen, man.
uh,
As we said before, when Jared Goff got paid the last time, some things got weird. Green Bay. Green Bay before Thanksgiving was they weren't that good, man. So that's what I'm saying. They could fall back. We don't know, but I doubt it. Oh, real quick before we go to our how do you tell the world how you feel? For some reason, there's a video of rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy. He's facing a ton of scrutiny after posting the footage of himself making it rain on a female in his bathroom. So I guess never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. I have no problem with this young man making it rain with a female in his bathroom. I guess if I'll tell you that off camera. I'm not gonna get in trouble tonight. I'm not getting struck. I guess if it was never mind. It's so maddening to me now that when dudes and women and dudes like each other and love each other now, so much scrutiny towards that. We live in a crazy world, man. But you know what? Again, I'm not getting struck down. I'm not getting banned. So we're gonna tell the world how we feel.
Tell the world how you feel.
There goes that sound again.
I love it, man. I love it.
Okay, a round of applause for Robb Johns Productions. You want to hear it again, don't you?
Yeah, let's hear it again.
I got you, brother.
Tell the world how you feel.
I like the part of Triple H and when he was going, it's time to play the game. I'm gonna put you in pedigree.
I would have loved to see how you was doing that. When you were doing that, actually doing that, I wish I could fly on the wall and I could see that.
Yeah. So Larry, tell the world how you feel, sir.
So, man, we had the big matchup yesterday with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Of course, they were the headliners.
Larry. Before you keep going, just remember to mention that she invented basketball and that the girl should be arrested for assault because that was wrong.
Yeah. So, my girl Kennedy Carter was getting a lot of criticism
out of Texas A&M, by the way.
Out of Texas A&M, been balling in this league. She actually balled yesterday. If y'all actually watched the game, I forget how many points she had. Rob, if you can pull up how many points, the whole box score of that game real quick. But yeah, Kennedy Carter was balling in that game, and I know the toughness of the game has gone down in both NBA and
19-4 and 6. She had 19-4
and 6. She played efficient ball yesterday.
While the greatest player of all time had 11 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 turnovers.
Yeah, but other players not getting mentioned unless it's on that channel. But like the girls like Kelsey Mitchell who came through in double figures,
hold on for a second. You mean the same Kelsey Mitchell who had what's today? Today's June 2nd, right? June 2nd, right? You mean the same Kelsey Mitchell who actually showed up tonight and had 21 points, and while Leah Boston had 5 points, and the greatest player of all time, Caitlin Clark, had 3 points and 3 turnovers, and a 104-68 defeat in New York. But go ahead, proceed.
What was her field goal? What did she do in the field goal?
You talking about Caitlin Clark?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Caitlin Clark tonight against the New York Liberty was 1 of 10.
1 of
So
10.
she got a 10 on her paper. 1 of 10. 1 of
Wow.
10.
But this ain't the slander toward
It's
Caitlin Clark.
not,
You know,
but
I mean,
it's
but
not. But listen,
it's
but Larry, it's not to slander anybody, but we all understand that when you disrespect a group of women who are so good in this league, and this league has been respected for so long with the Cynthia Coopers, the Lauren Jacksons, the Lisa Leslies, I mean, and for the people who claim, I'm gonna put myself on screen. For the people who claim we want to make it a race thing, it's not, because guess what? Breanna Stewart's my favorite player of all time, and guess what? Breanna Stewart she's white. Anyway,
she what? No, I want to see. I want to keep your face up on there. So now, I get frustrated with the fact that with Kaylin now, she does get a lot of the attention now, and I feel like yes, it's because of her that now they're getting chartered flights and they're getting all this treatment that they didn't get before. But let's not act like this game wasn't physical before this. You know what I'm saying? So her getting a bump here and there, you know what I'm saying? She's gonna see that. She's a rookie. She's America's sweetheart. So of
yeah,
course she's gonna see that.
but I
And
have
I
to
feel
challenge.
like
But
these players,
Larry, I
I
gotta
feel like
challenge
these
you on that, brother.
players,
I gotta challenge you on that, man, because if you go back to the '90s, we had WNBA players on Martin. We had WNBA players on multiple great TV shows. We had WNBA players on great commercials. If you remember the Comets for Pete, I mean, the daggone Houston Comets were selling out the Toyota Center at the back end of Akeem Olajuwon's career.
yeah,
Come on now.
yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Look at Maya Moore. What would have happened if Maya Moore? That's when the WNBA started suffering. When Maya Moore retired because she was going on mission and helping this guy who she had been writing get out of, when he had the situation where he was wrongly accused, and she got him off, and she married him. Also, it's the WNBA's PR fault. It's their fault of their leadership, because they got rid of teams like Houston. They got rid of the Detroit Shock, who was a really good franchise. You got rid of you don't have a team in Philadelphia. Like, come on now. I don't know, man. Go ahead.
It just frustrates me that they're looking at this, like, especially when a foul comes to her, it's like, whoa, like, how can you foul her and stuff like that? But like, you don't know this game's been physical forever. You're just now tuning into it, and now that America's Sweetheart is in here,
How dare you foul that face? How dare you foul that face?
So now that America's Sweetheart is in here, it's like, how can you do that to her? I mean, hey, look, it ain't gonna stop. It's not going to stop. And you got, I don't know how many games left all the way up until September, whenever the season ends. So she ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: Are they gonna be kind to Caleb Williams this fall? They're gonna be kind to him. They're gonna treat him with kid gloves.
Absolutely not.
No, hell no. The Fever are now 2-9 on the season. By the way, they have they got 40 games. They've gone 2 of 8. And here's the thing: when they go to Chicago, it's gonna be on. When they gotta go to Chicago, man, I feel sorry for them.
When is the next meeting?
Let's see here. Let me get my calendar here. They got to play they play the Mystics Friday night. Damn, I need to go to that game, but I won't be able to. They play the Sky in Indiana on June 16th. That's a noon game on CBS. And then after that, let's see here. Let me make sure I'm getting all this correct. Then they have a June 23rd game at the Sky at 6 p.m. on NBA TV. And then they have the Sky, I believe it's one more time on August the 30th at 7:30 on a Friday night on ION Television. Yeah. So they play them in Indiana one more time, then they got them in Chicago twice. And Chicago, I guarantee, will probably be fighting for a playoff spot. But see, Larry, here's the problem. And I know I'm getting into what you're talking about. Indiana won 13 games last year. If Clayton Clark is what they say she is, she should be worth at least 7 games. They should be fighting for a playoff spot. Am I out of bounds by saying that, sir?
No, you're not. You're not. And there were some things about Caitlin Clark that I liked yesterday, especially backing down her opponent in the hole and getting a quality 2-pointer. But Yeah, I don't feel like you're wrong for saying that.
I think, and
Uh,
I also think that where they screwed up at. You remember during the NCAA tournament when Leah Boston was doing the when everything went down and she was hugging Dawn Staley and she was getting all emotional. I don't think those two are compatible. I don't think Aaliyah Boston. I don't think Aaliyah. I think one or either one of them. One of those players is going to have to leave Indiana, and it's going to be probably Aaliyah Boston eventually. I don't think they're compatible. I do not think they're compatible. And if you ask me, the Indiana Fever, they need a hardcore coach. I know they would never bring Mark Jackson in there because of his religious beliefs, but I believe Mark Jackson could teach that young lady how to play point guard and get her to a next level. I believe that, and their coach currently is. I don't think she's the right coach, man. I think that Dawn Staley in Indiana as a former point guard / shooting guard would be so great for that young lady, but it's not going to happen. So
we'll see what happens.
yeah. On my tell the world how I feel, because of course we can do sports, we can do non-sports. See what I'm gonna say here, because let me play the sound first, because let me do it properly.
Tell the world how you feel.
Larry, I don't know, man. I don't really have too much tonight. Let me check the box score real quick. So,
Did Edmonton win?
Well, Edmonton beat Dallas. Dallas ain't going to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they're not going to the Stanley Cup. They got through Vegas. They got through Vegas. They got through Colorado. They wet the bed once again.
Damn.
We haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1999. We couldn't get past Edmonton. I wanted Edmonton. Now the Stanley Cup finals is going to be Florida against Edmonton. Don't get me wrong. You got Connor McDavid finally in the Stanley Cup finals. Problem is, it's not against New York. It's against Florida. And you know something? Man, good night. I don't. You know what? You know what, man? Like we were number one seed. We did everything right. We played great hockey. But you know what? Once again, we're not going to the championship, man. We're not going to the championship.
It's just one step closer. It's one step closer. One step closer than what the Cowboys.
We're not going to the championship. We're not.
Cowboys, Dallas Mavericks, Texas Rangers.
What about
Cowboys?
What about them? Listen, man, we're not going to the championship, okay? All year, been playing great hockey all fucking year, right? They beat. You think Vegas is going to be an 8 seed again? You really think Vegas is going to be an 8 seed? You think Vegas is going to be an 8 seed? I don't think so. You think Colorado's still going to be in their demons? I know they had the players suspended. You think they're going to be in their demons? No, they're going to be better. They're going to be better. And guess what? We cannot get back to the finals. We can't win the finals. We beat the Buffalo Sabres. As irrelevant as the freaking Buffalo Sabres. What the hell is a Buffalo Sabre? We beat the Buffalo Sabres in 99. Mike McDonald, Brett Hall, blah, blah, blah. Great team, but we have not been able to get back. Played Edmonton, a team that had a very dicey goalkeeper who we should have dominated, but guess what? We didn't. You know why? Because Dallas is the home of the chokers. The Dallas Mavericks won the championship in 2011. Who the hell else really done won the championships in Dallas, man? What's going on, man?
Texas Rangers won it last year.
I don't give a damn. That's in Arlington.
That's in the area.
Arlington. And Dallas is in Arlington. I'm talking about Dallas, Fort Worth. I ain't talking about Arlington, man. I'm talking about Dallas, freaking Fort Worth.
I mean, to be technical, that the Texas Rangers Stadium is right next
I don't give a
the
damn.
AT&T Stadium.
Man, screw the Rangers.
Just the facts. Just the
Look,
facts.
man. The bottom line is they were the #1 seed. They were the best team in hockey, and we're gonna get Edmonton against Florida. Do you know what the ratings are going to be for the hockey for the Stanley Cup Finals? Do you know what the ratings are going to be? Even though we got Connor McDavid, we got the Florida Panthers against the Edmonton Oilers. If we would have got Edmonton, in New York, see, because now they're not even going to talk about it now. Because if it ain't New York, orange and blue skies. Orange and blue and red skies. I don't even talk about it. Man, you know what? Like I said. So again, man, the Stars lose. Caitlin Clark scores 1, 2, 3. Any final words, Larry? Go ahead. Just say something. Hurry up, man. I got an hour left before my diet starts. Hurry up. Go ahead. Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Everybody love everybody, man. That's all I got.
Love. What the hell love got to do with it? I watched Acrimony.
Love everybody.
Man, let me tell you something. I watched Acrimony last night. Love ain't got shit to do with it. It's a thin line between love and hate. I learned that from Martin Lawrence. Ain't no love out here. You know what I love? You know what I love, ladies and gentlemen? This is what I love. I love getting off this damn show. Hold up, I ain't done yet. Let me say something to y'all motherfuckers out there. You stupid Dallas Stars. You know something? The Cowboys gonna do the same thing. I'm done. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Let me tell y'all something. The Cowboys gonna screw up. Michael Parsons is not at OTAs. He need to be learning new defense because he was overrated last year. He's an overrated linebacker. I said it. Michael Parsons is overrated because guess what? All he does is rush the passer. He can't stop the run worth a damn. I'm done. Man, you know what? Hold up. I'm not done yet. Damn Stars, damn Cowboys.
That Michael Parsons disrespect was real though. Like he led your team in sacks. Yeah. That was a little disrespectful right there, bro.
Okay. hey, Larry. Can I ask you a question? There's still an APB out for him in the NFC. There's still an APB out for him against the Packers. Micah. Oh, Micah. Oh, that's right. That's the Packers going. The Packers are still scoring. Oh, do you see that? It's a bird. It's a bird. It's Jordan Love scoring another touchdown against the Cowboys defense. Good night, everybody.